there's been some very sad news this morning that Ricky Hatton, the British boxing legend, has tragically passed away at the age of 46. His body was discovered at his home in Manchester. We've opened the lines to hear from fans because he loved his fans. Carl joins us now. Hello, Carl. Good morning.
Good morning, gents. Good morning. What sad news?
Very sad news indeed.
I just wanted to share a very quick story. Over the last sort of 20, 30 years, I've been watching Ricky. He's my favourite boxer. And I was telling all my football colleagues, just a local football team on a Saturday, and made them stay back to watch one of his fights. I can't remember who it was, but it was about 30 years ago, and he was on his way up. They didn't really know who he was at that time, and I was evangelising about how his body shots were killer and how he did it his way. And true enough, we all stayed that night, and they were blown away, and he knocked the guy out by a body punch. And that, for me, was just such a vivid memory of his style, his way of boxing, and just what he brought to it. And the way that he brought all of those fans to him, like you were just saying about that fight at the MEN. As soon as people watched him fight, they were instantly just attached to him, and it's such a sad loss.
He's one of those boxers who felt like one of us in the ring, Carl.
Absolutely, and outside, and that's why people resonated with him, because, you felt connected to him, and he was such a real person, and, he kept it real for the whole time, and I guess in the end, to his detriment a little bit with his struggles after boxing, but to me, he was just one of us, and it's a real sad loss, and what a talent. What an absolute talent. Yeah,
real talent. Thanks for getting in touch, Carl. Carl called us on 03717 223344 if you'd like to give us your memories of Ricky Hatton, who has sadly passed away at the age of 46. Ricky joins us from West London now. Good morning, Ricky.
Good morning.
Very, very sad news.
Yeah. My condolences to his family, because he's just such a terrific guy, a proper people's person. It's a tremendous loss to everyone in the world, I think. World of boxing, just everything. Just a proper people's champ.
Yeah.
I actually met him on the M62 kind of thing. Well, I didn't meet him, but he was in the car next to me, and he was in the passenger seat, and I couldn't recognise him, but he kept looking at me going, like, oh, come on then, recognise me. And then it wasn't until I saw the little long-style gloves and the ring mirror, I thought, oh, no way. So I went, oh, Ricky. He started being for my own, showing him my tattoo with my name, Ricky, and he was like, yeah, nice one. And his driver wasn't very happy, but and then I looked and I nearly crashed my van because of it.
And what are your memories? What are your memories of him in the ring, Ricky?
Oh, he was just an absolute pure champion, wasn't he? His heart, his heart on his sleeve, didn't he? He went in there and just went to town on everyone, didn't he? He was just a proper fighter, a proper scrapper, and that. And I'd never forget the Mayweather fight, and I was really sad when he lost that fight. But even more sad now, to be honest. But
he wasn't scared to go in, was he? And that was the thing that set him apart, I think.
Yeah, and it's just a shame that he's come to this, and mental health and all the rest of it.
We don't know the circumstances yet, so I will just say that, Ricky. Yeah, that's fine. Thanks for calling in. We really appreciate it. I hope you feel okay.
Thank you.
That's Ricky in West London. 03717 223344 if you'd like to share your memories of Ricky Hatton, as Jim has called us. Good afternoon, Jim.
Oh, hi there. How are you?
It's
I'm ringing to say I never actually met Ricky Hatton, but my cousin Danny, I don't sound it, but I'm from Belfast, a place called Ardouin.
Yeah.
There's a fighter there called Eamon McGee, who's a good friend of my cousin Danny, and Eamon fought Ricky a long time ago, lost, but he said, what a gentleman afterwards, and Eamon had a lot of demons in his life, and he said Ricky really helped him, always spoke to him regular, and was a real good guy out of boxing. And I just thought I'd just share that, say it wasn't just about the boxing, he actually looked after and cared about an opponent after the fight.
Yeah.
That's the sort of bloke he was.
He was a good advocate for being a human being, I suppose, Jim.
I think so. I mean, where Eamon came from, Ardouin, it's a rough area, and he had a lot of run-ins with wrong people there as well. And Ricky always phoned out and made sure he's okay and talked to him after the fight. Nice. it's a nice.
I think maybe that's what he had going for him as well, Jim. Is that you felt like you knew him?
Well, no, not really. I just thought, what a nice bloke. Who else would do that? Or whatever. I suppose boxing is a different, weird world that none of us who don't box just don't realise that it's so close and people are just so connected, I suppose. Appearances before and after. But anyway, he was a gentleman.
Jim, thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, Jim called us on 03717 22 33 44. You can also get in touch on 81089. Ben has done that. And he says, such terribly sad news about Ricky Hatton. I'm a year older, a heroic British boxer of my generation. Quintessentially British. Think of Hatton, think of Britain courage. The underdog with the spirit of a lion. Rest in peace. Ricky Hatton, the fight has ended. The last bell has rung. Thanks, Ben, for that on 81089. Shiraz has joined us. Good morning, Raz.
Hello, mate. How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. Very, very sad news this morning that Ricky Hatton has died at the age of 46.
Yeah, R.I.P., mate. R.I.P. I picked him up 3 times as a cab driver, mate, over the years. And I mean, the first time he wasn't that well. Second time, I remember taking him through McDonald's drive-through, mate. But the last time I picked him up, I think it was after the Eubank Ben fight, mate, and it was just a different Hatton, mate, honestly. He was looking for, I think he was fighting some exhibition maybe, or he was fighting somebody in a few months' time. And he said he was looking to sell his house as well, because there was some kind of housing development going on behind his house. And yeah, a really good chat, mate, really good chat. He just seemed in a much happier place, mate, honestly.
Yeah.
He was thinking of moving to Spain as well. And all I want to say, shout out to his family, mate, and I hope he can get well with it. And Ricky Hatton, R.I.P. There's only one Ricky Hatton, mate.
Thank you, Raz. Appreciate it. Raz got in touch on 03717 22 33 44. As you can imagine, Barry, the phone lines are very, very busy. Lots of people want to.
He was an incredibly popular
guy, yeah.
And the crowds he used to take to Vegas. I mean, I'm not particularly a boxing fan.
No, but
and I'm struggling off the top of my head to remember too many of his fights, but he was a scrapper, wasn't he?
He was a scrapper,
a real scrapper.
A relentless boxer, would always just come forward, never scared of anybody. If you are just joining us, it's the sad news that Ricky Hatton, the beloved British boxing legend, has tragically passed away at the age of 46. Steve joins us now on 03717 22 33 44. Good afternoon, Steve. Sad news.
Yeah, really sad news. I know him, when he used to come to the boxing club, he used to box at our local boxing club in Sale in Manchester. I used to be one of the coaches there.
Oh.
And he was a real up-and-coming, star. You could see it when he was a young kid.
Mm-hmm. And what did he have as a young kid, Steve, that sort of set him apart?
Well, you used to see loads of kids used to come to the training sessions, but he had something different. He had that hungry desire. He was just, you could see other kids who might have been able to move around the ring a little bit better than he could, but he didn't have the same attitude. He used to go into his corner when he, as an amateur, and he was destructive. He was single-minded. He was an amazing young man. He was dedicated to the training, and he was also humble. Mm-hmm. He never went round the gym thinking he was the best boxer. He just, we could put one kid in after the next kid. He was just a really good kid. And, he had, some good mentors there who, older than I was, who used to run the boxing gym at Sale West Boxing Club. And his dad, Ray, used to come to all the sessions with him. So he had a good, good support from his dad, especially when he was an amateur. And he went to the ABAs and everything. Yeah. He was just a good, solid kid. He, he used to hit the bag so hard. He was a tremendous, watching him in the ring. And he was just dedicated. And you had other clubs come down, and he'd put kid after kid in with him. And he'd do his best to stay on top, even when the kids were older or bigger than him. He'd come out and he just, he was getting the most out of every training session.
So watching him go on to become world champion must have been an incredible experience for you, Steve.
Yeah, it was amazing. And he's a big City fan. I'm a City fan. I'm going to the game today.
Yeah.
And it's, I've just put in our group chat, because a few of the lads who me. And,
he was held in high regard by City fans, wasn't it? I think did he parade his belt around?
Yeah, he's done that. He's done loads of exhibitions, but he's a massive City fan. So is his son Campbell. The whole family. They only live close by to where I used to live. I'm from Manchester, and I was brought up right in the inner city, and a lot of us, you either go City or United.
Mm-hmm.
So today is a big day for us.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
Just hearing the news coming through, knowing he's a massive City fan as well, I'm sure there'll be some sort of a tribute at the game today.
Yeah, very sad news, Steve. Thanks for sharing your memories of him, your specific memories as well. Really nice to hear about him as a young child. If you are just joining us, the sad news that Ricky Hatton has died at the age of 46 has just broken. Ryan has called us on 03717 22 3344. Good afternoon, Ryan.
Hello, lads. How's it going?
It's a sad day, Ryan.
It's the first time I've ever called in the talkSPORT. It just hit me like a hammer this morning when it came up on my phone that Ricky Hatton had died. And it's unbelievable because for me, he's never, although he was respected and he was the most loved working class fighter of all time, I think he has never got the true respect for. People talk a lot about the boom years in boxing. Ricky Hatton was the man that built the boom years on his back. Don't get it.
Yeah.
Don't be mistaken. They talk about Anthony Joshua and Carl Fratch and all these people. Ricky Hatton was the man. What did he bring? 20,000 English people to Las Vegas.
Vegas. Yeah.
In New York. There'll never be crowds and people will spend their money. Big money, working class people following him all over the world. That'll never happen again. That's how loved he was. He's a genuine, true working class, hero. An English warrior, and it's just sad, so sad. The man had everything, all the money in the world, and he's dead at 46. He didn't duck anybody. He fought Mayweather and he fought Pacquiao, and the two best and at the weight in the world, elite fighters, and he came up short. But do you know what I mean? It's just I just saw he didn't get the true respect put on his name for truly. He is responsible for the boom years. We all know it.
Okay.
When Sky Boxing really took off in the late 90s and early 2000s, it was all built on the back of Ricky Hatton. He had more support than anyone.
Ryan, you're clearly a boxing aficionado. What was special about Ricky as a boxer?
Well, he just it was body punches for a start, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He took people out with body punches, and he was like a throwback fighter to the old days of McGuigan and Roberto Duran, them kind of fighters that just came forward, and he had a heart of a lion, and that was really his undoing against Pacquiao, wasn't it? Where he came forward, but
too brave.
He didn't know any other way. Do you know what I mean? It's just so lovable, wasn't he? One of the last callers, or it was one of yourselves, said that you thought that you knew him. He was just one of the lads. You know what I mean?
Ryan,
one of the lads.
Thanks so much for your memories and your thoughts. We really appreciate it. Tony's called us on 03717 22 3344. Tony, you met Ricky.
Yeah, hi there. First of all, could I say condolences to his family, please?
Yes.
I met him in 2003. It was the Commonwealth Games at City Manchester Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a reception for the games, charity do. And Ricky donated his sungloves for the reception. And it was like a champagne reception. And I went in there, and he had a pint of Guinness. I couldn't believe it. Everyone was drinking champagne. And I just said to him, Ricky, where did you get that from? And he took me to this side room. He had a little fridge with a few cans of Guinness in. And he invited me in for a drink. So I had a drink with him and had my picture taken with him. And I'm just so sad about the news.
Yeah, very sad. Thank you, Tony, for that lovely memory.
Thanks,
really lovely. One last one before we break. We've got so many calls on 03717 22 3344. If you're just joining us, the sad news that Ricky Hatton has died, age 46. Ollie, you also met Ricky Hatton.
Yeah, hi guys.
Hello, Ollie.
I'm driving my son to football, and the news has hit me hard, to be honest, because not only did I meet him in 2007 when I went out to Vegas for the Mayweather fight, you might remember,
yes,
the amount of Brits that went out to support him. after the fight, we were in a different hotel, it wasn't the MGM, and we went to play blackjack, and he rocked up, and he just sat beside us, battered and bruised, played blackjack with us, and we all started a rendition of There's Only One Ricky Hatton.
Oh, fantastic.
And you would not have known he just had his lights battered out of him. And then, I've had my career in sport. I actually worked in boxing as well. I still run boxing, and I used to see him in the circuit. I would always joke with him whenever I saw him about that. And, he was just such a lovely, affable guy. It has hit me quite hard, actually. I think it's the shock.
Yeah. It's a lovely remembrance of Ricky Hatton there, Ollie. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thanks to everybody who's called in so far, sharing their memories of Ricky Hatton, who has sadly died aged 46. A few texts here, Barry, have come in. They all say very similar things and how much he meant to people. PD in Devon has been in touch. Devastating news regarding Ricky Hatton, true man of the people, probably Britain's most popular sporting athlete of a generation, the heart of a lion, boxing champion, legend, R.I.P. You will be sorely missed. Good afternoon, fellas. Just seen the news regarding Ricky Hatton. This hits hard and should be a reminder that life is precious and she would never should take for granted our time on this earth. Amazing person. Inspiration to millions. R.I.P. Ricky. Thank you, Jane. I appreciate that.
I think one of the reasons he was as popular as he was is he was an elite athlete in one of the most brutal sports you can be in. Exactly. I think for me,
there's no hiding.
Boxing, cycling, no hiding. It's horrible.
It really is. You and I, admittedly, not the greatest boxing experts,
no,
Baz, but we can call on the people who are, because we are talkSPORT, and talkSPORT boxing presenter Ade Oladipo joins us now. Good afternoon, Ade.
Afternoon, gents. Afternoon, everyone.
Very, very sad news, Ade. I'm assuming you met Ricky many, many times, and tell us what he means to the world of boxing.
Yeah, I've met him loads of times at events, and it's horrific news. It really is. It's been a weekend where boxing has almost just sort of put itself front and center again because of the fights in Vegas and Belfast, and then it's been brought home. Something like this has just kind of brought it all home, just how important life is and how precious life is. And Ricky Hatton meant everything to everyone in the world of boxing, just because it's such a working class sport, but sometimes when boxers do hit the high notes and become world champions and make millions, they kind of separate themselves from the working class, and Ricky never did that. He was almost, to kind of compare it would almost be like comparing him to a footballer in the 70s and 80s, where you can just go down to the pub and see your favourite footballer.
Yeah, sure.
That was what Ricky Hatton was like. And that doesn't exist in sport anymore, does it? For the elite anyway, there's almost this separation where fans can't relate to sports stars because they're almost seen as just being over there and you're over here. Ricky Hatton was never over there. It was always over here with you. And he always gave time. I would be in places where Ricky Hatton would just stop for every single photo. And you're trying to usher it on, like, Ricky, we need to go on. Like, they're waiting, and he would kind of give you the finger like, I'm coming. And he'll take a photo and take a photo and take a photo. And look, he's had these bouts with depression. Let's not shy away from it, and mental health. But I always thought that he had got through it, because I always thought, okay, as long as Ricky can focus on something. And, he was talking about a little comeback fight, December. Obviously not a real boxing match, but, a charity one. And I thought, okay, that's fantastic, because that means Ricky's focusing on something, he's going to get in shape, and his mind's going to be there. And that's why this news hits hard. I was with Darren Barker in Belfast just yesterday, and Darren Barker sat down with Ricky Hatton midweek, and always just a point of conversation. How's Ricky? Yeah, he's fine, great spirits.
Yeah. And
then you get this news sort of early Sunday morning, and it shows you just never know. Never know. You've got to check in on people, and people have got to phone each other and make the phone calls.
I would just say, honestly, we don't know yet the circumstances of how he has died.
You are correct. And look, and I hope it isn't that. But again, because there is a past there, I maybe just jumping the queue a bit here. But look, it's sad news. And Ricky Hatton, as your caller just said there, sort of ushered a generation of boxing fans, actually not just boxing fans, sports fans, to follow him. I mean, people would follow him up and down the country. I mean, he took thousands to America. That was unheard of.
20,000 people to Vegas is amazing, isn't it?
20,000 to Vegas to fight Floyd Mayweather. He had that incredible fight at the MEN Arena against Costa Zoo when he became world champion. And then the Ricky Hatton boom just started. Yeah. But again, he never left his roots, always a man of the people. And I think that's why the calls and texts are going to be difficult, because he touched many people. People loved Ricky Hatton, and he loved the people as well.
Ade, do you think the fact that he was sort of flawed made him more popular with his fans? He loved a few pints, he loved the post-fight fry-up, but he still managed, to get himself in shape for these fights.
Yeah, because you could relate to it. I mean, you could relate to it. And he was open about everything as well. And he used to kind of almost take the mick out of himself. He used to come to the ring sometimes in these oversized, inflatable sort of dress-ups. And then he used to strip it off and show the abs and almost to show, look, I was like that and now I'm like this. But I think that's why you could relate to him, because you could meet him in the pub and he'd have a conversation with you. Yes, you'd have a fry-up as well. So it felt like, okay, he is me. Where some of these athletes you can't really relate to at all because they're nothing like us. But it felt like Ricky was part of you. Yeah. And I think that's why I think this is really hurting people today. And again, I think you mentioned his age, Charlie, only 46. Yeah. Only 46. So much of his life in front of him. He was coaching and training people as well. It's very, very sad news, not just from a boxing standpoint, just from a human standpoint as well, because, you can remove Ricky the boxer because that career was done. Ricky the human was fantastic. Always laughing, always joking, always had time for people. And I think that's why it's hurting.
Ade, we really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks,
this
Ade.
morning. I know a friend, a colleague, and a hero of yours. So sad news, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Ade Oladipo there. That's us, Barry. We're done. A sad show to have to do. May Ricky Hatton rest in peace.